Welcome to Faith, Family, Fitness, Freedom on 100.7 The Word. I'm Jason Lupo here with my co-host today, just a guy, Jim Miller.
Hello, hello.
And today we're talking about the Western diet and its explosion across the globe. I found it interesting. I was seeing all these pictures of foreign McDonald's just invading the Middle East. They even brought out a temporary McDonald's for the president.
The Mixati rib, it's here.
It's like it was a cool looking McDonald's.
It was. It looked kind of retro style, right? Because it had the brown siding on it, and it was like popped in there. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it looked like it was an upper class restaurant.
Yeah, it looked fancy. Looked fancier than McDonald's I go to.
So, I pulled up a couple articles here. The first one is from Nutrients in 2023 in June. Global Impacts of Western Diet and Its Effects on Metabolism and Health, a narrative review. The abstract goes as follows. The Western diet is a modern dietary pattern characterized by high intakes of prepackaged foods, refined grains, red meat, processed meat, high sugar drinks, candy, sweets, fried foods, conventionally raised animal products, high fat dairy products, and high fructose products. Aims to describe the effects of the Western pattern diet on the metabolism, inflammation, antioxidant status, the impact on gut microbiota, and mitochondrial fitness, the effects on cardiovascular health, mental health, and cancer, and the sanitary costs of the Western diet. So there's been some focus. We've seen obesity rates just skyrocket around the globe. The World Health Organization reports 1.9 billion adults were overweight in 2016, and 650 million were considered obese.
Dude, that stuff's kind of crazy to think about it. Because I'm old enough to remember when the biggest problem in the world was starvation, like people not having food, not having water, not having health. Now we have a world where it's all, oh, no, people are so fat, it's unhealthy. That it's a health crisis, they say, right? It's insane. That's such a turnaround. It's I there's not enough food, then there's too much food for most people. That's kind of gross when you really think about it.
Well, and I do truly think that we have put our focus in the wrong area, right? We're sitting here talking about, okay, how many calories do you need in a day, but not worried about what makes up those calories in an everyday occurrence. And so now we have a new administration. We have RFK Jr. Starting the war on processed foods. I've always thought this has very little to do with any particular food or food group, that this has more to do with the quality of the food that we consume.
Food made from machines and a bunch of chemicals and crap versus stuff growing out of the ground. But you see it at the stores. It's cheaper to buy something made out of a machine than it is to buy food out of the ground most of the time.
Doesn't seem like it anymore. I mean, I'm looking at 2-liter sodas. What is it now? $4?
Oh, what? Really? I don't know.
It's something crazy. I walked in. Well, and then you go to like Seattle. When I was in Seattle, they have a sugar tax. So you get taxed for your sugar that's in your beverage.
Your tax on your sugar.
You are. Yeah, I think Boulder was gonna pass one of those, or maybe they did. That there's, and actually, I think they limited the size of fountain drinks in Boulder.
Well, there's another thing with it. I don't think those types of things should exist. I think just let people make their decisions. The lot will figure out its own thing, kind of deal with me is what I think. I just think it's crazy that the world's gone from starvation to obesity, especially America. America's gone from starving to obesity, but a crap ton of homeless people and stuff. You're like, what is? It just seems weird that people went from starving to just being so fat that they're sick from being fat.
Well, but a lot of it is just, I mean,
The quality of the food.
yeah, some of it came out of the GMO corn processes, and the fact that they're trying to create food that doesn't expire, that doesn't go bad, that's completely resistant to just about everything.
Nuclear resistant tweaky.
Yeah, I mean, things that'll sit on the shelf for the next 15 years and be just fine to consume.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I remember, I know like the MREs and some of that stuff that dehydrated, whatever kind of the military food from the field and stuff. That stuff's got a lot of preservatives and craziness in it, and you just like add water to things and it brings it back to life. And I think the last time I read anything about it, they said that they know a lot of the stuff can last for like 50 years or something. But it does those seem to not have because they're dehydrated, I guess, and the way they dehydrate them, they don't have a bunch of negative, like, health type things, but they'll, like, plug up your digestive thing if you're not super hydrated because they were so dehydrated or something, even if you had water or something along them lines, which is kinda crazy.
Yeah, I mean, here's an article just from last week. RFK Jr. blows the lid off Big Food's worst scam. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sat down with Newsmax Greta Van Susteren Tuesday evening and exposed the dirtiest trick in the American food system. This is an article by Tyler Durden on Zero Hedge.
Tyler Durden from Fight Club wrote that. That's the guy from Fight Club, Tyler Durden.
Well, maybe there's good on this guy's parents for making sure that he has a lasting name.
Right?
Um,
The first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club. We write about healthy foods.
He says corporations hijacked an FDA loophole called GRAS to quietly flood our foods with untested chemicals without ever proving they were safe. And the consequences didn't take long to show up in the late 1980s and early 90s. Something strange started happening in America. Chronic illness was on the rise. Obesity rates soared. Autoimmune disease became more common. It felt like the health of the nation was unraveling, according to HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That wasn't a coincidence. It was the result of a corporate takeover. At that time, the tobacco industry took over the food industry, he said. By the early 1990s, the two biggest food companies in the world were R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris. Same companies that had perfected the art of chemical addiction through cigarettes were now running the food system, and Kennedy says that they brought the same playbook with them. They began moving scientists from the endeavor of making tobacco more addictive to developing new lab ingredients that would make food addictive. I mean, part of the reason why I started with this conversation on the Western diet exploding across the globe was the fact that we now see the same level of epidemicness across the globe when it comes to chronic illness, obesity. I mean, all these diseases are just on the rise globally, whereas we've seen it take place in the United States for so long. Now we're seeing it happen in other countries.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like a big old scam and a bunch of gross people putting a bunch of money before let me make as much money as possible off of garbage and trash as I can, but instead of doing the right thing and making things okay-ish or healthy or good, they just seem to just push stuff through. I like how old Phillips and Reynolds, them guys, they seem fun. It seems super fun. We put our scientists from making tobacco addictive to going, hey man, people like sugars and Twinkies, stuff all the time. You make it to where everything tastes like a Twinkie addiction. Have at it. Sounds insane.
Well, and then that's why we say, I mean, if I don't know if like it's hard to just consume a couple of those chips or just consume a couple of those pieces of candy. I mean, we already know that sugar has a very addictive effect. I think there's been plenty of research on the fact that sugar, people can become addicted to sugar, have the same response as an addict to anything else when it comes to sugar. And now we're putting that into our kids' lives where basically they're just addicted to sugar all the time and constantly craving food with processed junk and preservatives. Well, because, some of that stuff tastes really dang good.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can see that in some of these chips, some of these snacks, these sugars. I like Reese's. And I do after I quit smoking. I really like Reese's. I like a lot of gummies and stuff too, which is weird because those don't really have that much flavor. Jelly beans. Jelly beans are super delicious too, and I'm sure that's not good for me at all. And then when I do drink a soda, I want the most cancerific freaking kill me chemicals there is where it's like, what is it? It says cherry. It's not cherry. It doesn't even taste like cherry. It's just labeled cherry. Cherry Coca-Cola and stuff. What's that Dr. Pepper one? I really like the strawberry one. It doesn't taste like strawberries, but it says strawberries cream or something on it. And I'm like, yeah. But that's because I quit smoking too. So my taste buds are all jack and annied up. And then I like really, really, really flavorful type drinks and stuff.
But, we also know that you love your Celsiuses.
Yeah. Yeah. I drink a lot of coffee too. Actually, my wife is spicy. So I got to have my drink sweet, right? So that's kind of how I've been running it through with this type of stuff.
All right. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. This is Faith, Family, Fitness, Freedom. See you in just a minute. Welcome back to Faith, Family, Fitness, Freedom. I'm Jason Lupo, sitting here with my co-host today, just a guy, Jim Miller.
Hello, hello.
Axios reporting. The Trump administration is launching a review of the nutrient makeup of infant formula in the first such federal inquiry in more than a quarter century. It marks the latest examination of U.S. food supply under Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but carries especially high stakes targeting a product that's complicated to manufacture and has a notoriously fragile supply chain. Big picture on Tuesday, the agency released a request for information about infant formula nutrients. Operation Stork Speed aims to not only evaluate nutrients in formula, but increase testing for heavy metals and other foreign substances in the supply chain, as well as improved label clarity. It is not clear who will be conducting the review. Officials said that Food and Drug Administration will convene an expert panel in June. Nutrition experts say a reevaluation of standards for formula makers in the United States is long overdue, but they also cautioned about the risks of evidence-based science getting overshadowed by trendier rhetoric about dubious claims. The review has to be done carefully. It has to be done with the best scientific evidence. Baby formula expert Stephen Abrams of the University of Texas at Austin told Axios.
Stuff for giving to small children. Their brains are still developing. I think, what is it? Eyes and lungs and brain are still in a lot of developmental stages at this point, right? But
The whole body.
yeah,
But yeah.
those organs go. I think those are and the heart too, right? Everything major's like still like doing a lot of kicking and getting and growing and turning what it's supposed to be. So it's real important that it does have the right nutrients and ingredients and not a bunch of toxic crap and stuff, including the packaging, for crying out loud. So hopefully they're looking at that too, and cross contaminations with processing and being made, because there is stuff in the modern era where a lot of babies don't take to breastfeeding very well. I don't know what that's about, but there is some stuff with that. So the formula part is pretty vital. You know what I mean?
So I think there's so many different situations, so many different issues.
A lot of spokes on the wheel. Yeah.
Correct. So the first is quarter centuries gone by since we've taken a peek at baby formula, which is just absolutely shocking because research has come out. So much research has come out since 2000 that really we should be constantly changing and evolving, but instead we've kept it the same.
Yeah.
Second part, I walked through the aisle the other day, the grocery store. Baby formula is something like $69 for a tub. I mean,
I remember during some of the COVID stuff, it wasn't available for a while. I remember having to help some friends and family like find formula. I remember it even came hard for a minute to find like diapers for a minute for some of the little kids. I was like tracking down stuff and dropping it off for a lot of people, but formula, what was it, like formula, crap paper, paper towels, and like diapers and baby wipes were like, it's kind of weird, but those were the things that were super hard to get your mitts on during some of the COVID stuff. But the formula, I remember it being nuts, and that's when it like went way expensive.
well, and I think that you brought up a really good point, which is we have to look at the decrease in breastfeeding across the country, and whether or not that's cultural, whether it's if there's something wrong with our food supply that's screwing up the hormone levels that then women are having trouble with producing milk, or if this is truly a cultural status issue where women want to remain in the workplace.
Don't bite my nibs.
Don't want the hassle of going through the breastfeeding. Now the current press secretary for the president just had a baby, and she's made national news with basically breastfeeding her baby all over the place.
Taking her baby to work and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like she's like, no, I will raise my baby, not a daycare or a preschool or a babysitter. And I can still show up and do paperwork with my kid. It takes longer, but I can do it.
Well, it's a matter of like, look, like the culture decided a long time ago that women needed to be in the workplace, and then on top of that, the cost of inflation and the cost of living is really for a two-parent working household.
They're like two parents and any
Yes.
old enough kid to be working and going,
Yes.
oh, you better pay your cell phone bill and your part of the utilities. It's expensive, man. I mean, what's a regular like mortgage cost? Like $3 grand, $4 grand now? It's stupid.
Yeah,
Everything's
and
expensive and it's ridiculous. The breastfeeding stuff though, and then the thing with it's supposed to be the healthiest time is the first few months too. If I remember right, or the first few weeks or something, because like all the hormones is like, hey, here's all the nutrients and the antibodies and all the healthy stuff for the kid to fight off and be able to defend off, anything in the world, air and breathable and touchable things that could make him sick. So
well, you just think that with the increased amount of family medical leave acts that have passed throughout the country, and the required pregnancy leave or the available pregnancy leave,
yeah.
especially with state insurance plans taking on some of that cost for families.
Is insurance gonna start paying for the overpriced formula now?
No,
Oh.
no, but you would think that you would see as pregnancy leave increases that the demand for formula would decrease, and we haven't seen that in states that have passed it. So I think there's truly some more research that needs to be done into the question of why do we have such a high demand for baby formula? Is there something that's causing
Is it addictive?
this issue?
It might be laziness, it might be lack of wanting to do it, I don't know. I know there is some things though where, like, legitimately it's like a medical thing and, like, the kids just don't breastfeed, they just don't get it, grasp it, or do it or something kinda thing, like little babies and stuff. And then sometimes there's mothers that don't produce enough milk and stuff too, or it doesn't come out right, I guess. I don't know. You'll have to look it up on the old interwebs there. But there's a lot of issues with that. I think breastfeeding's the more optimal way, honestly. Or is all the formulas, is it just another industry developed like I made a problem, I'm the solution for the problem that I helped cultivate with.
I don't understand why we have to even ask this question of like, is it healthier from the mother? I mean, of course. Like we forget the fact that God created this beautifully designed earth where before the fall of man, everything was perfect. God's design was perfect. And what we've done as a culture and society is we have chosen and made the choice to take uh, the,
Artificialize
the
everything.
the things that come naturally and skew them further and further and further away from God's intention for the purpose of profit, for the purpose of, shelf life, for the purpose of happiness. I love that quote unquote word happiness. Everybody wants to be happy.
The formula stuff, I think it's kind of a self-made issue. I mean, I think there's circumstance and situation for him if a mother isn't generating milk, you know what I mean? Because that does happen too. It's
Yeah, but
just
see that, but
genetics,
that
but
should
they're
be.
so small of a number that it how much is it the formula industry make? Like, is this one of those, like, multi-billion-dollar industries in America, but a $1,000,000 industry here and there? Or is it just trillions of dollar industry around the world? Is it I mean, where is it produced at? Is it just made in the States? Is it made, like, in Korea and shipped here? Is it a China? Is is formula made in China? Where is this kinda coming from is what I'm real curious about.
So the
'Cause Enfamil is the brand I see all the time.
global infant formula market size is valued at 81.72 billion in 2024, projected to grow to 90.91 billion in 2025, to 178 billion by 2032. And I think that what you said earlier when it came to the situations where women can't produce the breast milk, that should not be the common situation. It should be the one-offs, the small percentage of women that can't do what God has created us to do. It
Be
should
the
not be
acute, not the
the
unseen.
vast.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the vast majority of society. And if it is becoming the vast majority of society, then we have to address the issue as to why.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't breastfeed. I'm not a woman. So, I know what a woman is, though. How about that? That's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yep.
But I know it's kind of funny that just common knowledge is like a big fight. But anyways, maybe we need to talk to some of the women and see what's going on. I just as an opinion, I'm starting to think that it might just be preferences or ease of ability to just it's better to mix it in a bottle and warm up some water and mix some stuff and put it in there than even pumping breast milk and all that. So I think it's just might just be just cultural laziness and ease of use kind of thing is what I think. I know every time you say something's lazy, people are like, "No, it's this or that," or and it's like, "No, I'm just saying, like, everything that's worth doing always takes an immense amount of effort." And breastfeeding a kid, I've I have kids. I've seen them be breastfed. It is a lot of effort. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of uncomfortability. It is a lot of just like, "Oh my god, it's gotta go. It's this and that." Oh, they're hungry right now. We're at a place. Throw a blanket over them, bust a breast out, and off they go to be eaten town, you know? And the people that wanna be jerks about it in public are, "Oh my god, how could you do that?" And you're like, "The baby needs to be taken care of. It's hungry. What's your problem? This is the most you're shopping at Trader Joe's, but you're mad about the most organic thing in the world here." So, being mad at a baby and a boob, terrible, terrible. I bet they hate the Red Cross too. So, anyways, you can't be mad at babies or boobs is what I always say. So, the formula stuff though, I think it's just kind of a self-made industry of just profiteering on crap and just making it try to seem more relevant about the small amount of women that can't produce milk or the small amount of babies that don't take to breastfeeding very well, and has to be supplemented in between kind of thing. So I don't know. I think it's just a self-made problem kind of thing and just cultural laziness and because it is a lot of effort to breastfeed. It really is.
Yeah, I think that it's just if you once again, I mean, if you make the decision to have a baby, you should be doing everything in your power to do what is best for that child. And I just think when we know that there's an issue, it's about time we figure out and solve the underlying issue instead of
It's the
just
foundation of the damn problem.
yeah, let's find out why we have this over reliance on things like baby formula. And if you go, well, like why do I care? Right? Like there's probably people out there that are listening and go, why do I care? And ultimately at the end of the day, the increase of chronic illness in our country affects everybody.
Ooh, do any medical places own or any pharmaceutical companies own any of the formula things? That's an interesting thing to think about. Are they just making a problem so later on they got more diseases to sell medicine and pills to?
It's the same company. I mean,
Oh,
it's it's
nice.
it's the same massive conglomerates. But we're running out of time. I would love to even explore this issue further. But when chronic illness is on the rise, we're seeing it on the rise in across the globe in every demographic, in children and babies and adults, and it increases the cost of healthcare for everybody. It decreases the availability of doctors to everyday American citizens. It's packing our emergency rooms full. Our hospitals become overloaded because chronic illness is on the rise. And so, if we look at this and go, okay, we know, and this is not unproven science, we've known for years and decades that uh, a woman's breast milk provides the ability to fight infection, to fight disease, passes that on to the baby, provides the nutrient that the baby needs.
Strong immune
And
system.
so, for the purpose of simply trying to,
Man,
make your life
this is
easier,
is this a rabbit hole we kind of just dug out and opened up? Because it
we
kind of
did.
makes you think like I'd want a strong community and society of the next generation growing up. Right? I want strong populace. I want smart, strong people. I want to look stupid. I want them to be so intelligent every good decision I've made looks bad for crying out loud, especially my own kids. But but if we have a weak and sickly environment and society and a bunch of people, then they're gonna have more medical type conditions and things and be more reliant on a system and an establishment.
Yeah, I think anytime you look at these things and you go, why does this matter to me? I'd be happy to explain to you why all of this matters to everybody, regardless if they never plan on having children or they have 15. It matters to everybody. This has been Faith, Family, Fitness, Freedom. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. Have a great day. God bless.
You want it better, be better.